You're done?
The meeting is now in order.
Okay, if everyone can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's start with some introductions. We have our board with Kevin Metcalf, Board Director, Wayne Staples, Board Vice President and CFO, Board President Jackie Snedden, and Board Secretary Jean Sandoval. We have Eric Czar, our Assistant General Manager. I'm Jerry Mupo, your General Manager. We've got Cindy Graves, your Activities Director, and also Tad Creasy, the Division Manager from Euclid Management. Okay, we'll start with just a few announcements this month. Recently, we experienced a decreased PSI in our irrigation lines. So we did contact the Beaumont Cherry Valley Water District regarding that, and they stated that we were advised 10 years ago that they were going to be providing recycled water to our community. Recently, we were not notified, but they are using what is considered a non-potable irrigation water. It's not recycled at this time, but it is still considered non-potable. And so they are recommending that we do not allow our pets and don't sip off the irrigation lines, the purple pipes. And this is the expectation that we can have for our irrigation lines. Also, an update, District 7A, the bond reformation has been completed. The city has already turned all the information over to the county tax collector's office. And so hopefully you'll see the adjustment to the bond if you're in the 7A district on your next tax bill. Yes?
We're supposed to get a choice on that. How can they put it on a tax bill? Not everybody wants to do that.
The choice that you will have, you can either pay at the flat rate that will be now in existence. You can continue to pay at the 2% increase if you would like to, or you can pay any amount above the minimum.
I understand that, but she's saying it's going to be on our tax bill. Like it's
always on your tax bill. So the new rate will be showing on your tax bill, but you can pay any amount above that. That or above.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, I don't have any information from the city of Beaumont. They just basically informed me that you'll see it on your tax bill.
Sorry, would that be the flat rate that they shown?
Yes.
That's my understanding, yes. Okay, Recreation Center 3 comments. They were received by Kay Hovnanian. They're reviewing the comments, and then they will be responding shortly with they will respond to the comments coming up soon. I don't have a date. Lodge extension renovation is on hold pending what happens at Recreation Center 3. So as soon as it is determined what the design will be, then the board and the committee can determine what the changes would be to our facility here. And then
that's regarding the playground.
The backyard
the
common
large
area.
grounds,
Yes.
not the interior.
Thank you. And then we did have a request from a homeowner located on Arches Park regarding landscape improvements at the end of the street. And the landscape committee was looking or is looking into doing some improvements. In the meantime, there was a city requirement that a barrier be installed, and so we have to reconsider what is going to go in that area to take away from the steel look of the barrier. So hopefully changes soon will be coming on that.
And I think for some of you that might not be familiar with Arches Park, at the end of that particular street, it's a dead end, and then it goes down to a very steep slope on the other side of the wrought iron fence. And so that's the reason for a barrier, because if you go through it, you're taking a dive down the slope.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's it for announcements. Wayne, did you have an education comment?
That was during the treasurer's report.
Great. Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and start our homeowner input. Just as a reminder, please silence your cell phones out of respect for people that wish to hear. If you have to take a call, we'll ask if you step out into the hallway, that'd be great. Just a reminder, the homeowner input is limited to 3 minutes per homeowner, and only one request to speak form may be submitted per homeowner. There will be no sharing or passing of time to another person. Homeowner input may be held for a maximum period of 30 minutes before the board meeting begins to allow the board to proceed with the business portion of the meeting. This portion of the meeting is limited to board participation only. Residents are welcome and encouraged to stay for the full meeting to witness the business of the corporation taking place by your governing agents. So we'll go ahead and start with Willis Fagan.
My name is Willis Fagan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Willis Fagan, 442 Glacier Park. I'd like to talk about the suggestions for modifications out here in our community center. Some modifications are necessary to be sure, but some of the ones that have been shown to us defy logic and are not sensible. Wrong assumptions almost always wind up with wrong conclusions, and I think that's the case in some of the things out there. Simple modifications can be done. For example, since new tennis courts are going to be built anyway, build them all up at the Rec Center 3 and then use the tennis courts down here to be modified for pickleball and other things. That would have minimum or no impact on this area. Fix the bocce ball and shuffleboard courts as needed and add some benches. That's a fairly minor thing. There's talk about redoing the amphitheater. It's fine the way it is. It works. It just needs more seats and a little tweaking. Put the speakers down where the performers are, where they should be, so you have good sound. We can add some permanent seats, add about 100 people there. Plant some specimen trees to give shade to that area. Take away those big false columns that are in the front and put in some prefab concrete round ones. You would increase your view area by about 60% of that area. Do not raise a platform for performance. That will eliminate the flexibility of that area. Putting green is fine. That has minimal impact, although it possibly could be put up at Rec Center 2. Barbecue and outdoor eating areas could be done right out here where the little English garden is, formal garden. Increase that by 200 or 300%, in other words, 2 or 3 times, and just extend the same thing that's there already. For shade in the pool area, just use the big shade things that are out there now. We don't need permanent buildings out there with solid roofs and all that stuff. And then possibly replace the natural grass with something that's like artificial grass. These are simple solutions that cost very little. They would take minimal time, have minimal impact on our area, and this is, after all, the centerpiece of this lodge area, is what we see out here. It's what attracts a lot of people. It would be, and it would preserve that centerpiece for everyone. Thank you.
Willis, at this point, do you have that in writing for us? I was thinking, because we will be collecting comments and responses regarding that anyway. That will be part of the survey that we'll be taking. So thank you.
Okay, next speaker, Bill Guy.
Can you hear me? No? Okay. What should you do, turn this thing off?
It's on.
It's on?
Talk
I'm straight into it, okay, I want to get closer. Well, I've been asked to speak up game room by some card players and by some ping pong players. So I try to highlight a few things. One thing, that game room is the largest private room we have here. Very comfortable. It's been here for 9 years and been used by everybody. And it looks very lovely. It has tables are a little bit larger in there. It works very good for canasta and for games like dominoes and bunco. The changing it would be very costly, especially if we want to try to do something like, we've been rumored that there's going to be a table tennis group going in there. To change that room over there, table tennis has a minimum requirement for just recreational, not competitive league, of a 13 by 26 foot table areas. In other words, if you want to put two side by side, it's going to take 13 or 26 by 26. That room is only 24 feet wide. It cannot accommodate two tables, even for recreational, let alone competitive level, which recommends a 30 by 16 and a half foot space. Therefore, that room is really too small to set up more tables in that room. The existing aerobics room is 27 feet by basically 40 feet, so it does meet the minimum requirements, but it doesn't allow for spectator room or anything else over at the aerobics room. Also, the card room light levels are less than 300 lux. The recommended for table tennis for recreational is 300 lux. For competitive level, they want 500 lux. It's supposed to have a wooden floor or some soft floor, this type of things. The existing floors over in the new sales office are not soft floors. Standing on them and playing on them would be very bad. Like I said, the existing aerobics room is 27 by 40. It does meet minimum requirements for two tables, but does not allow for competitive league unless you have one table, and there's not much spectator room. The only space that meets the minimum requirements for flooring, lighting, and space is the ballroom, which is not used during the mornings, and this also allows available space for spectators. It has also been requested by many to increase the ballroom wood flooring that would enable even to make it bigger by the dance committees and other groups because it's becoming too small. So that would also, and it would not be that costly to increase this wood flooring in this area. The existing senior centers around here all use their ballrooms for table tennis. And so basically, so why don't we? Thank you.
That would be good. Item under new business, we are going to be appointing an ad hoc committee regarding the interior renovation. And so if you could put your comments into writing and make sure the committee gets it to consider those.
Okay. Who do I submit it to?
You can just give it to Jerry today.
Okay, next speaker, Diana Ali.
Hello. Hi. My name is Diana Ali. I live at 372 Irvine Park. I just wanted to inquire about the water temperature at the Summit Pool. It's too cold. I have arthritis, and I've talked to several homeowners, and everyone seems to be in consensus that the pool is just too cold. I called around to several clubs, LA Fitness and such, and inquired about their water temps, and their standard is 84 degrees. And I was wondering why we can't raise the temperature. I've put in requests and never heard back about it, so just curious why we can't raise that.
Jerry, do you want to go ahead and?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead and.
The temperature was increased. It was originally set at 80 degrees when it was installed, and the board agreed to increase it to 82 degrees. And so that's what the current temperature is set at. We did some research as well and determined that many of the activity pools, which they're considering this as an activity pool, I can't speak today. An activity pool generally has temperatures anywhere from 78 to 82 is their average. For us to heat the pool for arthritic residents, it's there's a guideline that says we would have to heat that pool to 87 degrees in order for there to be any benefit. So at this time, the board agreed to the 82 degrees.
when I belonged to LA Fitness before I moved here, for several years, I used their pool. It is at 84 and I had no problems at all. This pool is too cold. I believe it's too cold. And I asked a lot of residents here and I haven't gotten one that said, oh, it's comfortable. I just think it's too cold and we need to do something about it. I mean, I hate someone to just say, no, we can't, because they feel that that's the right answer. I don't think that's the right answer.
We're not saying that we can't. We're saying that it was reviewed. We have received other residents submitting their suggestions that they are comfortable with the temperature. And so we're trying to balance the needs of all. If the board would like to increase the pool temperature again, it's a balancing where we have to keep the interior, I think it was 4 degrees hotter than the pool water temperature.
Well, I understand that there has to be an ambient temperature from the pool to the outside. But, I mean, that should have been, when they built the building, they should have accommodated that, and apparently they haven't. But if you have comments on people where they think it's comfortable, I'd like to compare the comments of the people that say it's too cold and the ones that say it's comfortable. Because I think the ones that say it's too cold is...
Why don't we at this time send this back to Safety and Facilities?
Great.
And to re-review this particular issue, because there have been comments on both sides of the coin.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
So it is an open issue. We'll definitely take a look at it and hear what the recommendations are from the committee.
Real quick, I'm going to ask too about the solar panels. Who approved the solar panels about being this? I mean, is that a board thing that...
The board approved it.
Because they should have put them on the other side where you don't have to...
I think they're actually on both sides.
Oh.
They are using both sides of the roof.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Our next speaker is Jean Tamplin.
I think Bill Guy covered, can you hear me right? Sure. I think Bill Guy covered my area in a much more professional way. It has to do with our complaints of the very, very noisy room in the old sales office. We play poker at one end near one of the larger rooms toward the courtyard. It is very, very noisy. We'd be more than happy to use the old card room and not move. But there's a lot of other reasons. Obviously, it has to do with table tennis, ping pong, etc. So I think that would just about cover it. I do have one comment that has to do with the board's decision and legal classification of what happens to poker. I think we'd love to see the person or persons that have complained about this. At least in a court of law, you get to face your accuser. They don't get a free ride. They shouldn't get a free ride to complain about something. I would have thought trying to legislate people's behavior would have learned a lesson about what happened about prohibition. It didn't work. So there's a lot of other things you can do. Why don't you cross off the wine club? That's legislative behavior. I have to be a member of both, though. So please don't do either one. Thank you.
Yes, I will respond to that. The issue in question...
They can't hear
They
you.
can't
Can't hear you.
Hello?
Better.
Is that better? Yes. So if I talk down like this is... Anyway, the issue in question is that we do have a rule, or actually the penal code of the state of California has a rule that there should be no gambling in this facility. The state of California considers poker a controlled game, which under that they regulate how it's played and how it's handled in the houses where there can be casinos and clubs that have poker games for money. The penal code does have it a controlled game. The only time that it would not be considered controlled is what they consider a social environment. And a social environment is only when the game is played in a private home or residence. The facility here is not a private home, nor is it a private residence. Therefore, under the state California Penal Code, We cannot have gambling in this building. No exchange of money in this building. And that is why we say no gambling.
Can I respond to that, please?
Not at this time, no.
It's a misinterpretation, misstatement, in fact, by the way.
Read the penal codes.
I have read it, I've got it. I've practiced law for 40 years, I know what it says.
Well, the thing is we have no gambling in this building, in the facility, and no discussion.
Our next speaker is Avi Green.
Okay, yes? Hear me okay? Good afternoon, my name is Dr. Avi Green, I live in Bloomington Park. This past weekend, I had the opportunity to visit an upscale 55 and over community and discovered that from the developer on down, they have a unique goal, and that is to enhance the quality of life of the residents. Imagine, enhance the quality of life of the residents. This manifested itself in the builder not participating in the governance of the HOA. No one had to check in with the management company. The buildings that were to be turned over to the association, they're still in construction, were pre-designed to reflect beauty, comfort, and ease of access. There was a clear sense that this was your community and not the board or the developers. Then I saw on today's agenda the first item of new business where the board has already selected who they want to be on the ad hoc committee to determine the lodge and spa building development. As far as I know, there was no general call for people to apply if they were interested. Those of us who were on the RCN ad hoc were not approached, at least I wasn't, and they made the reasons for that. Even though we were tasked with planning for the lodge usage as part of our work, but that was put aside. In my work as a psychologist, I knew that if one wanted to understand the workings of a system, one had to understand the head of that system. It seems that our system is predicated upon control, managing the residents, and a pervasive, immature sense of us versus them. And that comes from the top down. Thank you.
Next speaker is Toby Davis.
Okay, I'm Toby Davis. I live under. Is that better?
Yes.
I like to think I'm taller. Okay. My issue also regards the old game room. I have 42 people signed up for a game called Mexican Train played with dominoes. I have been asking and asking for a room in which to play, and we still have yet to be assigned. Yet you're going to turn the old game room into a ping pong room. We still have no place to go. What's going on? I don't get it. So I also am in favor of keeping the game room as it is so we can be assigned someplace. That's all I have to say.
Toby, I'm not quite sure where it first came out that was going to be a ping pong room. I think that was thrown out initially a long time ago, but there has been no decision whatsoever.
Okay, all right. I just hate to see it.
And that's really what this committee will do, is they will start soliciting information from the residents in order to see, and see what the uses of the rooms are now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Luvinia Ortega.
Good afternoon. My name is, what happened to my mic? I gotta kiss it like this? Yeah. Okay. My name is Lavinia Ortega, and I reside at 1508 Belterra. I sent the board an email regarding access to the walking trails by those residents who have to use wheels instead of their legs to get around. I did receive a response, which I appreciated. I had most of what I wanted to say in that email, but I would like to add a few additional factors to my request. I noticed that the guidelines specify that no wheels are allowed on the trail because of a rutting issue with the decomposed granite. I noticed that while walking on the trails, there are very few residents who use the trails. If all of the residents use the trails, there would be a lot more rutting. So compared to the total number that use it, I would think that if we allowed wheelchair access or allowed strollers on the trail, the few people that would take advantage of that would be just like the few people that walk. So the rutting would not be a big issue on the trails. Also, there was a question about liability, and I noticed that those of us who are disabled, who have to have assistive devices to get around, would not ask for any kind of special treatment or waivers. The guidelines specify that you use the trail at your own risk. The same thing would apply to those of us who have to use a wheelchair, or those of us who want to walk our grandbabies and strollers on the trail. So what I was asking, or am asking, is that I know that the board previously addressed this issue, and the lawyer wrote a letter, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm asking that they reconsider whatever the lawyer said, which resulted in a denial of access to the disabled. So that's my additional input with regard to the email requesting such access. Thank you.
Thank you, Lavinia. Okay. Our next speaker is Leon Lee.
My name is Lian. I live at 1470 Peters Canyon Park. Okay, the other day, my husband was almost hit by a driver driving from to the gate to the roundabout here. Then I look, I'm thinking, how could that person so rude when my husband almost was near the yield sign from the gate there, the driver still keep going. So I look at the sign, the yields, there is the yield, and in on the circle, the roundabout there, it says yield to traffic in circle. But the sign is fading, it's a kind of grayish. So my suggestion is make it a gray letters instead of grayish, and you cannot see very well. That's one suggestion. The second one is maybe we need to emphasize this kind of rule to the yield to the traffic in circle to most residents, because most of us are not accustomed to this kind of roundabout anywhere else. So that's my suggestions. The other is, I feel like line dance here and ballroom dance on the wood floor here is already too small. Like Wheeler's suggestion, make it bigger, and we can play ping pong here also. It would be most cost efficient, and then benefit a lot of residents here also. Thank you.
Leanne, just a response to a couple of your concerns. The yield sign, they are faded, so we have purchased, we're just waiting, we purchased some signs and we're waiting for them to arrive in replacement. Also, enlarging the dance floor is one of the topics for the committee to consider when they're looking at the interior renovations. So thank you for those recommendations. I have no further homeowner input, comments. So we'll go ahead and start with the business of the association, which is our consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is to make a single motion to approve all included items. If for a particular reason an item needs to be discussed or pulled from the consent calendar, then a call to remove that item should be made by a board member. This month on the consent calendar are the approval of the minutes from June 11th, 2015, approval of the May 2015 financial statements, review and approve the CD implementation investment plan, and review and act upon the financial analysis requests, which there were none, and there were no lien or foreclosure actions.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
I have a motion from Jean Sandoval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Wayne Staples. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next on our agenda is the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay out there? I think you need to put up the list a little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Stop.
That's 14. Okay. We don't have the June financials yet. Our financials are cut on the 10th of the month, which is tomorrow. So the numbers stay the same. We're just under 7 million in total assets and just under 5 million in reserves. Our delinquent accounts are staying about the same amount. They go up, there's about 4 or 5 that are really the habituals. 2 of these, well, one actually was scheduled to be sold today at auction. I don't know whether it has or not. Another one's scheduled for August 5th. And then another one is in September, I believe. So if these do go to auction and are sold to the banks, we'll see something different happening with these 3. And those are the 3 largest ones that we have. We were talking the other day, and we wanted to, during the treasurer's report, sort of give some education on some items that come up. We've talked about the CDs a couple times in the last couple months, and items have come up about the reserve accounts and what can these reserve accounts be used for. It's very specific what reserves are used for. They're put away to replace items that get old. They can be put away to repair a building or part of a building. They can be paid, like in the Springdales where we just did the painting, that all came out of the reserve accounts. Every year we have a company that does a reserve study for the Finance Committee. And they go around and they look and they will count every chair in the ballroom, and they'll say, okay, you've got, I don't know how many we have, 500 chairs, and they're worth so-and-so, and they're going to last you 10 years. So in the reserves, they'll say, in 10 years, you need to have X dollars in your reserves to replace these chairs. On the painting, and this refers to the Springdale specifically, but it also goes on to the large buildings. Now it's this building. We just repainted the inside of this building, except for some areas that we may be, doing some work on. That all came out of the reserve account. And this is what reserves are for. They're putting money away now for future expenditures. If we didn't have these, and we had to do some of these things, there'd be special assessments going out. We don't like a special assessment. I know we had to do one on the front yard a while back because our reserves were too low. And so we don't like to do that, and we don't want to do it. So we're trying to put the money away as we go for the future. And that's really what the reserves are all about.
Thank you, Wayne. Okay, report on an executive session or action taken between meetings. There was an executive session on June 19th, and the purpose of that executive session was to review the copier lease. At that executive session, the board decided to lease a different machine, and so that has been approved, and the copy machine has been replaced. There was also an executive session this morning at 9 a.m. and during that executive session, the board discussed delinquencies. There were 4 homeowners called to hearing for outstanding assessments. 1 of the homeowners had brought their account current. 3 homeowners will have their privileges suspended. They also talked about liens and foreclosure actions and violation member hearings. There were no liens or foreclosure actions. However, we did have 2 enforcement hearings. Those hearings one has been resolved and one has been put on hold monitoring receipt of an architectural application. The board also reviewed our upcoming contracts. The consolidated construction contract and wildlife pest management contract renewed with no increase for the coming year. The common area earthquake insurance policy was renewed with a slight increase of $263 per year for a total annual cost of $15,567. And then there were 2 legal issues that were discussed. One was regarding an age restriction issue, and the second was regarding the trail use issue. So we'll go ahead and start with our committee reports. And our first committee, we did receive minutes. Is Marcia available to provide an updated report? If not, our second committee, we did receive minutes. Bill, can we give a report? You can clap.
I'm Bill Taylor, Chairman of the Bistro Committee. The committee met on Tuesday, June 23rd. Management reports that the repairs and modifications to the bistro are on time and on schedule. Drain maintenance is to be done every 8 weeks. We discussed the new homeowners dessert meet and greet orientation held in June. It was attended by 65 homeowners. It was suggested that we supply larger name tags for the guests, and we need to have more time to set up the area of the ballroom for this event. Management said they would look into these issues. The committee meets on the 4th Tuesday of each month at 11 a.m. in the Lodge Conference Room, at the new Lodge Conference Room. All homeowners are invited to attend. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, our next committee is the Communication Committee. We did receive their minutes from the prior meeting. Is there an additional report? Next committee is Emergency Preparedness. Is Gary present? Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Gary Sturtevant. I'm the new chair of the Emergency Preparedness Committee. Glad to be here. I've been president of my Rotary Club for 3 years, and it's always on Thursday at noon. So this is the first time in 3 years I've missed a Rotary. So. Anyway, to report, some of our committees or subcommittees or teams are having some challenges. There's not too many people in those teams. The first aid team has lost its team member, and we have one person that's acting as the team member, but does not, a team leader, but does not want to keep it. So we're just struggling with that. I've combined the water and the sanitation team into one, because there was only, on the water side, there was 3 people, on the sanitation there was 1. So I've just combined them. Resignation, Scott Britton resigned from the team. We're planning a tabletop exercise in January, and we're going to handle it a little bit differently to stop some of the confusion. We're going to have some classes preparing the teams for a tabletop exercise so they know exactly what they're supposed to do when we have the exercise. And if we see things start to go sideways in the exercise, we can stop it and redirect. So we're attempting to do that. Setting goals for the committee and to work together, all the teams in a separate committee, so we're not trying to walk on each other or do the same thing. And get some speakers, some really in-tune speakers that are really educated. We do have Margaret Vinci coming out from Caltech Pasadena on the 29th for a special meeting. It's going to be here at 6 p.m. in the Lodge, and we are inviting outside guests from the City of Beaumont, City of Banning, the water departments, things like this. I even got a request from the general manager of High Desert Water District out in Yucca Valley to see if he could attend. So we're having her come out. That should be quite beneficial to all of us. It's about earthquakes, not only about earthquakes, but the San Andreas Fault, of course, which is right up the street. It's our neighbor, but also how we can mitigate it and how we can plan from the effects. We do have a new email address, thank you, Eric, and we have for the committee, which is on the flyers that were in the back. Also, we have a mass email system, MailChimp, that is sending out the large amount of emails, and that's worked quite well, and it shows me how many people open them, how many people don't, and you have a button you can click to opt out if you don't want the emails anymore. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next committee is Finance. We did receive the minutes from the previous meeting. Did Noel wish to give an update? And Lynn had emailed saying that he was not available today, so he's out of town and won't be here. Carol, rules and regulations? You're in a different area.
I know. I was hiding from you. You found me anyway. Good afternoon. Is that better? Okay. No? Kiss that baby.
Talk to us.
I don't like to. I don't, but that's Carol. No, come on, but I don't need to be on camera. How about I just talk loud? Rules and Regs meets on
You gotta talk into the mic, please.
Rules and Regs meets on the second Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m. in the board meeting. Anybody is welcome to come. Our last meeting, we discussed the rewording of the rules for the pool areas, which is what you all received in the mail. So if you have any comments on that, please comment and send them back in, because we do go over things and sometimes we look at it and go, what were we trying to say? So anyway, that's why things get redone. If you have any other things that you find in our guidelines that you have questions about, please let us know. We'll be happy to take a look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Committee members,
Our next committee is the Safeties and Facilities Committee. We did receive the minutes from the last meeting. Is Dennis here to give an update? And Cindy will update us on social goodies. Did the Ad Hoc Technology Committee have any update?
We did not meet.
You did not meet. All right. Okay. On committee appointments and resignations, as Gary said, we did have one resignation. Scott Britton resigned from the Emergency Preparedness Committee. No other appointments or resignations at this time. Review and act upon club and group application requests. We did not receive any this month. And then we did receive one homeowner facility use request. That's located on page 40 of your packet. The request was from a homeowner to extend the closing of the lodge to 9:30 p.m. They are aware that they are responsible for the cost of the staff overtime.
That's on page
40.
40 and 41. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the request from the resident to extend the time of their event? They are aware of the...
They're aware of the cost for the staff time, yes.
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second by Jean Sandoval. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is our activity director's report.
Oh, I have to get to the camera, Daniel. I hate that time. I'm like Carol, except it's a rule, right, Carol? Yeah, I know. Okay, here we go. You know what? First of all, I want to thank everybody that was part of the 4th of July festivities. We had some good competitions going on. We had some get down and dirty competitions going on. We had lots of donuts eaten during those competitions, and we had some sugar bombs for the staff to make sure they had that was the holes of the donuts that you were eating, to keep that energy level up. But that was so neat. I just so love having our whole neighborhoods coming together and having fun on 4th of July. Because celebrating America's birthday and remembering that we are Americans too, at the same time, it's heartwarming for me to have, we're getting so big that it's really neat when we can all come together as neighbors and play and have a good time together, and then have a big giant feast together and watch a cool show together. I just love it. I miss Christmas and the holiday show that we used to have with singing around the tree, because we're too big now. But and I know we're pushing the boundaries with 4th of July, but let's keep pushing them. Because I just love having us all lunch together and have a fun day. So thank you for all that participated, and great job, choir. Wasn't it kind of fun to have the little historical reenactment for those that saw that? I thought that was kind of cool. And thank you for playing nice. We had nobody punching each other out during the tournament, so that was really cool. But anyway, so it is an active adult community. I love that line, you know. So you never know where the punching might go. But I loved it. Thank you. It's nice to all be together like a big giant family. And don't forget crafters. I know many of you are getting your little crafty wares together, and you all know that we have extremely talented people here. So the mandatory craft fair meeting, if you want to participate as a vendor, as somebody selling their little crafts, is on July 30th. And it's in the evening on Thursday at 6 o'clock. So mark that down on your calendar, because remember, we're getting big and you have to pull a ticket now as a lottery, okay, to get a table. That's how big we're getting. So make sure you come. Or if you can't be here because you're on vacation or something like that, we are encouraging you to please have one of your favorite neighbors come and pull a ticket for you, okay? And then you'll have your table that way. Next, social committee is presenting Side by Side by the Divas Divine Show on Saturday, August 8th. And the tickets are on sale right now at the lodge for only $15. It's strictly a show. There's no full-on dinners or anything. And on this particular one, you're not going to be able to bring your dinners in. So eat ahead of time. Go get your dinner at Smitty if you want. And then eat and come on in for the theater part. But I think you're going to be really amazed. I got to see a little bit of the act at the quality of the vocal performances. They are all professionals, super well trained, and I mean, it's Amundsen material. The pieces that I heard were really amazing. I was very blown away. So I think you'll really enjoy it. We don't have to pay candlelight theater ticket prices because we're bringing it here, so it's only going to be $15. So just to give you a little perspective. Yeah, Vivian?
Are those on sale now?
Yes. Yeah, they are. So anyway, check that. Oh, and guess what? As a little treat, social committee is going to be having desserts and things at the end of the show. So it'll be a neat little treat. Next, karaoke this month is going to be this coming Saturday at 5:30. So come and enjoy that. That'll be neat. You know how, if you've noticed on the calendar, we're not on the same Saturday every time. That's why I'm announcing it. And then the amphitheater concert is going to be Big Daddy. And they do 60s, 70s doo-wop. And that'll be a fun one. So cross your fingers for great weather. And that is going to be on Sunday, July 19th at 7 p.m. You're going to love that. Don't forget to bring unbreakable glassware and stuff like that, okay? Because we actually did have a broken glass, so try not to do that, yeah. And then Ballroom Dance Club is going to be putting on their summer fun dinner dance. They wanted to make sure that I made sure that I said fun. Summer fun, because it's going to be fun. It barely fits on the line, but it is fun. Dinner dance on Saturday, July 25th. And those tickets are $25, and they include a big meal and just a good time. So go ahead and if you see those neat signs that Willis puts together up there, you can just pull off the little tag, and on there it tells you who to call to buy your tickets. So,
Sold out.
are you really sold out?
Oh, yeah, waiting list.
Waiting list. Thanks for letting me know. Well, sorry, it would have been a fun thing for you. But unfortunately, you're just going to have to hear about it from your neighbors.
Too small to dance for, can't have bigger crowd.
Oh, see, there you go. Well, in this neighborhood, we're so happy we even dance in the streets. So if you're bored, feel free. Okay, and then Line Dance Group is going to be hosting a free country music sock hop on Friday, July 31st at 4 p.m. So you can come, bring your dinner from Smitty's, and then just enjoy the fun time. You may wear plain old socks if you want, because it says sock hop. Or you can go ahead and wear your shoes. But it's free, so don't be stuck home, feeling bored, watching the same TV shows on a Friday night. Come on down, mix it up a little. And if you don't dance, feel free to come on down, bring your dinner, and poke fun at other people dancing. Because that has its own funniness to it. All right? There you go. That is it.
Thank you, Cindy. All right, we're going to start with the management report for the board, pages 45 through 91. These are the management updates in the activity log. Were there any questions regarding any information on those pages?
No, this time.
Page 92 is the summary of the correspondence. And then pages 93 through 145 are the communications received. I just want to discuss a couple of the communications. On page 93, we did have a summary of the recommendations that came from the summit, and I'd like to go through the list and receive some direction on a couple of them. The first recommendation is the outside patio fans. We are aware that for those that are height challenged, they can't pull the string, and there are no switches to just turn them on and off. So we did submit a warranty request to Hovnanian to find out why there's no on and off switches. There was a recommendation that we have bus trips. I'm not exactly sure what that includes, but that was on a suggestion form. There were several requests to have more lounge chairs, and I know Safeties and Facilities is looking at additional
I think
chairs.
those are in the works of getting ordered.
Okay, so
Or at least
more chairs are being
going
ordered.
through finance. at least.
Perfect. All right. More recommendations regarding the fans. Talking about the pool temperature, about it being cool. There was a recommendation to have the hours of the facility on the door. We have ordered the sign, so we should have that next week. I need floor fans for the fitness area. That was a recommendation. I do think we have fans in our workout area here, but I'm not sure if we can accommodate.
Probably not, but we could look at, I think to send that to Safety and Facilities.
All right.
And they can look at the fan.
Great. All right, and then there was a request to have elevator music in the pool room. So I've had
I'm not sure what that is.
I had a couple of requests to have music available in the pool area, and currently we do not have speakers installed in that area. Is that something that you're interested in pursuing, or is that just not a consideration at this time?
I don't know that we could really, to put speakers in that vaulted ceiling or anything, and whether it would
I'm not sure. That's why I'm proposing we can look into it if it's an interest.
How many people requested that?
2.
Let's hold off on that.
All right. All right. Also, fix the blue covers on the pool railings. That has been submitted to our handyman to go up and just relocate those, the pool railing. And also the Wi-Fi for the pool area, it was requested to be boosted. We did actually not we, but Eric, our special IT person, went out and did a Wi-Fi test. And Wi-Fi is available all the way to that back door. Depending on your device, sometimes it's slower and sometimes it's faster, but it is available. All right, more lounge chairs, more lounge chairs. Then there was a request for floor mats under the lockers. We have placed floor mats in every location that we possibly can. There is a very narrow section in the locker rooms that do not have mats. But the idea is the way the mats are located, it should reduce the amount of water in the locker rooms, in those restrooms.
Let's monitor that.
Got it. Okay. And that was it for recommendations. On page 94, we had a request from a homeowner for a private screening in the movie theater. And that would be on July 13th for 1 hour and 50 minutes. And so this is my first time on a movie theater request.
That does not interfere with our regular.
It does
schedule.
not. Does the board approve that?
Trying to think what the procedures on that now.
I haven't had one in a year and a half, so I was like, this is kind of new and exciting.
I don't think we've had one since we installed or instituted the process. We'll go ahead and approve it. I mean, do I have a motion to approve the request to use the movie theater on, what date is that?
July 13th?
July 13th?
Monday.
Someone. Motion by Jean Sandoval, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples, discussion?
Yeah, I'm just reading the rules, and
The rules are right below
the
it.
board approval is needed if the event will conflict with the daily movie schedule. It doesn't say it needs to be board approved otherwise.
So we really don't need to, so.
It needs to be
You have
approved.
we'll go ahead.
Cindy says it needs to be approved.
It does need to be approved. Go ahead and approve it, we'll talk later.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
All right.
We'll have a note here, talk to Cindy.
All right, page 100. This is a letter that was submitted from a homeowner regarding the pine trees that are located on the corner of Green Creek Trail and Four Seasons Circle. Originally, the request was submitted to the Landscape Committee for consideration. The Landscape Committee determined that the trees have been planted there since the beginning of that area. And so it is their recommendation that no action be taken to remove those trees or remove thin those trees. So we are submitting it to the board for consideration per the request of the homeowner. And I've provided the landscape plan as well as a copy of the picture of the trees on that corner.
Did you skip one?
Did I?
Page.
We can go back.
Yeah.
We'll go back.
We'll go back.
We'll go back to it, okay. Now, these trees are full-fledged, they've been here.
They've been here since 2005, I believe.
Been here since I've been here.
Yeah, at least, at least as long as that, they're,
And driving around the area, there are a couple of areas that are similarly planted like that.
I know there's the corner coming in on Crooked Creek.
Potrero and Highland Springs, and then Crooked Creek and Highland Springs.
And then our entryways, this particular corner. At this time, it appears to have been planted as was initially designed by the developer. And as such, we do not take action to remove anything. We just take action if there's a issue with the health of the tree. So does any on the committee or on the board see any action that you would like to take?
So no action at this time.
No action at this time.
Okay. What page did I miss, Wayne?
95.
95. Okay. On 95, this Mission Trails and Signal Peak.
In Archer's Park.
And Archer's Park. That is the area that received the barriers. And the Landscape Committee is looking at seeing what they can do to enhance those areas. Was there a different request that I'm not aware of?
No, I went up there and looked at it, and it does look terrible.
It's
I don't know
very
if the
stark.
others, I haven't seen the others, so I did look at it.
Well, I think the landscape committee is looking at this
Correct.
to soften.
To soften the barriers,
look.
yes.
Let's see what they have to say.
For homeowners that are not familiar, there's a number of areas that have a dead end, and the city required that Canadian install those barriers similar to like you see on the freeway. They've got those metal barriers. Obviously, they're not very attractive, and if you live next to one, you don't really want to look at it every day you
I
come
think
in
we
and
should
out.
also look and see if they could be painted. You know, if they were painted an earth tone of some type, it might not be quite as stark as they are right now.
So what we're currently doing is looking at ways to soften the look of those barriers. Okay, and it's currently being reviewed by the landscape committee.
And perhaps we could even plant something in front of them.
Is there space in front?
Maybe.
Yeah, let the landscape committee,
We need to look at, see what will fit and what are the city requirements.
let landscape take a look at that.
Okay, other than that, I did not have any other actions for the homeowners, for the board members. All right, next item on the agenda is old business, which we had none. And then we're going to move right into new business. And Eric's going to... Eric wants me to address the first one. So,
Let's get there.
there is no page.
Right.
It's the appointment of...
business.
There you go. It's the appointment of the ad hoc Lodge and Spa Building Interior Renovation Committee and approval of the charter.
Should we include the charter first?
As an explanation, we had created an ad hoc committee initially when we were looking at the renovation of this old sales office. This is phase B of renovation plans. Now that the management office has been moved over to what is now the 1528 building, we have to see what to do with the areas now that have been vacated. Also, there's been some issue with the size of the craft room, some way to enlarge that. And now the computer room is now over in the new building. That room is now vacant. There's all been discussion about enlarging the floor here in the ballroom, also about enlarging the exercise room in the spa building. So this committee will be appointed to really look at those issues, get information from the residents and input, and so that we can provide information to the architect to plan a design for renovation in these buildings. So first we have a committee charter to establish the committee, and do I have a motion for the approval of the ad hoc Lodge Spa Building Interior Renovation Committee?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Who is on the committee?
We have to approve the committee first.
The charter.
The charter. Do I have a second? Wayne Staples. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Now, as appointees to the committee, do I have a motion to ratify and appoint to the Ad hoc Lodge Spa Building Interior Renovation Committee, Don Fant, Dennis Gray, Doug Smith, and Sue Trossel.
So moved.
So, second.
I have a motion by Jean Sandoval, second by Wayne Staples. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next up on new business is a proposal from the Architectural Review Committee to amend and change some of the architectural guidelines. The last time the guidelines were reviewed and updated was in 2010. Once this is approved, if this is approved, it would go out for the 30-day comment period by homeowners.
Do I have a motion to approve the submittal of the amendments to the Architectural Review Committee guidelines to the residents for a 30-day comment period?
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples. Do I second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next on page 148 is a proposal from the Emergency Preparedness Committee. This proposal from the EPC is for a plan to be able to access the new 1528/RCN building to access the radios during an emergency after hours when the staff is not there to open the facility.
And what are they proposing? What is the synopsis of their proposal?
They are proposing to have access keys and cards for certain homeowners to be able to access the building and the room.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the request from the Emergency Preparedness Committee to have access keys or such to gain access to the 1528 building and radio room during emergency or disaster? I hear no motion. It fails for the lack of a motion.
Next on page 150.
I'm going to speak to this a little bit.
Okay.
I think some of the concerns that we have here is that if you really needed to get into the building, you can break a window to gain access. The issue we have is having any keys or other kind of devices that would allow access to any of our facilities during any other times other than when they're in use. It would put it could become a problem as people change out of committees and getting keys back and things like that, and the control of that kind of access. And thinking that in a disaster situation, there are glass windows there that can be broken, and easily the doors then could be opened and access could be granted to the building.
Next on page 150 is a proposal from the Landscape Committee. This proposal is to move several trees that are in front of windows that would, when they are mature, hit the summit building. Cost would not exceed $375.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from the Landscape Committee to relocate trees at the summit that are currently by the building to another location on the site?
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next on page 152 is another proposal from the Landscape Committee. This proposal would, on the island that is coming down from the main Potrero entrance to the first circle, that irrigation is all sprinkler. This proposal would change that to be a drip system. Cost would not exceed $3,087.
I'd like to amend that original motion before to include the dollar amount, please. The previous one, thank you.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from the Landscape Committee to convert the Four Seasons Boulevard Island to a drip irrigation system in an amount not to exceed $3,087.35?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next is a proposal from the Safety and Facilities Committee. This proposal is to repair approximately 5 different areas of concrete in the Laurel Paseo walkways. These concrete areas are cracked and they are unsafe. Cost for the repairs is $4,800.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from the Safety and Facilities Committee to repair concrete areas in the Paseo pavement between Lewis Creek and Salt Creek in an amount of $4,800?
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next is a proposal from the Classical Music Club. They have a pipa player, which is kind of a guitar, a Chinese guitar. He would be here on August 15th from 5 to 6 p.m., either in the lobby or possibly in the patio or ballroom, depending on the crowd that we would get. There is no cost for this.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from the Classical Music Club for a performance of a pipa instrument on, I lost the date. There it is, August 15th from 5 to 6 p.m. in the lodge facility.
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
I need to go back to the concrete replacement.
Yes.
The recommendation was for Riley Construction to complete the work.
Okay.
The board did not specify approval of Riley Construction.
I
Please
move that we
adjust.
use
Amend
Riley
it.
Construction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I need a second.
No, we're going to correct it.
Next is a proposal from the Activities Director and the Domino's Group for an upgraded plaque. While the cost is $225, that would include 8 years of plaque and plate engraving for 8 years worth of competitions.
Before we go forward with this, did we find out, we had a question regarding,
We have not purchased plaques before for other groups or clubs.
they have.
We've purchased trophies, but not plaques.
Okay, so they've done their own plaques.
They've contributed to their own plaques.
What type of trophies have we?
Competition trophies, is that correct, Cindy?
Right. So this would be in lieu of those competition trophies.
I would like to move this to next month,
To table?
table this to our next month.
Okay. Our next proposal is from the line dancing, which Cindy talked about before in the Activities Director report. Would be for a free Friday music sock hop on Friday, July 31st from 4 to 8:30 p.m. and there would be no cost to the association.
So moved.
I guess I have a motion. I have a motion, Wayne Staples, to approve the proposal for line dancing on Friday, July 31st from 4 p.m. until 8:30 with no cost to the association. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second by Jean Sandoval. Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next on page 162 is a proposal from the management company to purchase a defibrillator for the RCN building. Currently, every building on site has a defibrillator except for the RCN. The cost to purchase that would be $1,781.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from our management company for the installation of an on-site defibrillator at the 1528 building in the amount of $1,781?
So moved.
Motion by Jane Sandoval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne Staples. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Can I just give some information?
By Phillips Head Start, I guess.
Just a quick addition. The question was asked whether the defibrillator in our front office here would be adequate for the needs near that building, whether we could get the defibrillator from the front desk to that building. The concern more was we've got the tennis courts and the paddle tennis courts. We wanted to have a piece of equipment closer to those amenities. And so that's why we're recommending an additional piece of equipment.
Something you could get at quicker.
Yes.
No, I think there needs to be one in every building.
Yes.
So next on page 164 is a proposal and a request from the management company. Currently, the 10-year warranty will be ending in 2017 from the builder. We're recommending contracting with ProTech in the amount of $900 for an in-depth inspection of the facility grounds, lodge building, and spa building.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from management company to conduct an in-depth survey inspection of our facility, grounds, lodge building, and spa building by ProTech Building Services in an amount of $900?
So moved.
Motion by Wayne Staples. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval. Do I have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Next, on page 166, is a proposal and a request from the management company to purchase more comfortable chairs for the newly open 1528 building. Instead of using the ballroom chairs that are currently there, we would purchase 80 cushion 21-inch wide church chairs for use in the RCN. The cost of this would be $2,685.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from management company for the purchase of chairs for the 1528 building in an amount of $2,685?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval. Do I have a second? Second by Wayne Staples. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And next is a proposal for a new computer at the gatehouse. The current computer is a Windows XP, which is again no longer supported by Microsoft. We have to purchase the computer through the vendor, as they do not offer the software that is used at the gate as a separate download. The cost for this would be $2,100. And it will include all the hardware, screen, the base, the keyboard, the mouse.
Do I have a motion?
And it would be a reserve expense.
Do I have a motion to approve the request from management to purchase the computer for the gate, Potrero Instance Gatehouse in the amount of $2,100 from Dwelling Live, and from the reserve funds?
So moved.
I have a motion by Wayne Staples. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jean Sandoval. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
And that concludes new business. Our next open session meeting will be Thursday, August 13th, 2015 at 1 p.m. here in the Lodge Ballroom.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Jean Sandoval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.